our brand. It's two family names. It's, you know, it's for real. They were never sold, except when I bought that business. And yeah, back there in the early 80s, it was an interesting time. When I bought the business, Prime hit 19% that year. And Barclays loaned me the money at 3.5 over Prime. And so everybody in Fredericksburg was betting I wouldn't last for 6 months. And it was maybe a rough 6 months, but I'm here to tell the story. So with a few bumps in the road over the years, but you know, we became very successful as years went on, and mostly because our customers followed us through all that, and we got paid for our stuff. And so today it's kind of fun for me to steal our competition's business at twice the price. Can you imagine that situation? In agriculture, you don't hear that very often, but so around the globe, people are looking at what we do. We had 30-some countries represented over the last 2 years that came there. Family-owned businesses similar to ours, some a little smaller, but many of them were a little bigger than us. I just came back from Hungary a few weeks ago. A family business, 2 brothers have it now, and their father started back when they were part of the Soviet Union. And they sent dad off to some salt mine someplace and practically ruined the company. And then when the Russians went back home, the 2 brothers and picked up the slack and kept it going. But anyway, in fact, they were just over visiting last week. You know, everybody has a good idea. We don't have all the ideas, but it's amazing how we've collected ideas from around the world through family business relationships. So we have a lot of businesses similar to us in Fredericksburg around the world. Not very many in the U.S. You know, in the U.S., everybody went public, and you know, when you're publicly traded, you work out what the stockholders have to say, and sometimes they forget who the customers are and what life should be about in the food business. So I really focus on how we manage our customers and how we manage our employees, and most of all, how we manage our chickens. So our brand is built on what we sell. You know, we talk about our chickens being happy. Even Purdue added that to his commercial recently. One time people laughed about that, but you know, when you have happy animals, and probably the Wangers know from the cattle, people still laugh about the Wagyu from Japan and how they massage them. You know what? Animals like a person's voice. I learned that when I was a kid. You know, if you spend time in the chicken house, you can't talk to each animal, but you can talk. You could walk through the chicken barn with 30,000 chickens in there, or you could walk through the barn with your milking cows. When I was a kid, my dad used to say, if you talk to the cows and you sing in here, they're going to give us more milk. And so over the years with the chickens, they used to say, you know what, when you walk through the barn, you can pray, you can sing, complain about politics, talk about your neighbor, talk about something, but the person's voice is so important to producing happy chickens. Animals like a person's voice, and you can relate to that with your dog or cat or lots of animals, your horse, right? So people wonder why our chicken breasts are so tender, why our chickens taste the way they do. Why is Bethlehem so different? Well, it starts out with animal welfare. So if you treat the chickens really well, I'd say you have to talk to your chicken, but it helps. You know, all these pieces to minimize the stress. So in minimizing stress, you know, the one thing that we have on our record that's pretty darn good with minimizing stress is we never had the avian influenza. And today we own more chickens in Pennsylvania than anybody. And we've lived through this since the avian influenza started back in the early 80s. We get avian influenza all around us. Penn State, everybody's trying to figure out how to deal with it. Make sure you clean your shoes, make sure you do all this stuff. Yeah, that's all good. But if you have too many chickens on the farm, the house is too crowded, the chickens don't hear the voice of the farmer, you know, all of a sudden we're more susceptible to problems. So the birds fly over Bethlehem's houses too. They don't just avoid all of our barns or all our farms, but it's part of that. You know, that animal welfare is a direct result of what you take it home to the kitchen table, but it's also a reflection of the life of that animal. You know, if you take good care of them, I always use the explanation with getting on an airplane. You get on an airplane stressed out, and somebody sneezes. Next thing you know, you're sneezing walking off the plane. You know, so if you have an animal in really good health, And if somebody works through the, whatever crap coming out of the sky from that nice bird, you may not necessarily get it in your house. Your birds may be strong enough that they don't get sick, and you don't need medicine. So I still believe that animals, you can do a lot with animals without medicines. Just treat them good, treat them right. Make sure the air's right, the feed's right, and maybe it's good if you talk to them once in a while. So today what we deliver in our brand is something very, very special with animals that we take really good care of. We bring them into the plant. We have a whole lot of animal welfare things along the way. I could write a book on it. But at the end of the day, and Temple Brandon was my buddy, back 20 years ago before she became so famous. And, her and I used to tangle over, how we do things. We put them to sleep. And at one time they were all gassing them. They said the Temple, that's a heck of a thing. So you don't just gas them, you're killing them. You're suffocating to death. And in England and different things that she picked up along the way was, yeah, but if you gas them or suffocate to death, they only suffer for a minute. It's Temple. That's a long minute if you don't have air. How about if they put you in a box? What would it be like if you didn't have air for a minute? So today, we still today have a system where we put them to sleep like anesthesia when you go and get an operation in a hospital, and then we cut them when they're asleep. So they have no pain when they're hanging upside down, when we cut them. And so we don't have to buy tenderization equipment for our breasts. We don't have to do a lot of things that everybody else does. I mean, there's a whole industry out there to make up for the screw-ups of how the birds are raised in the first place. So if you do things right, you don't have to be part of the industry of tenderizing stuff after the chicken is processed before it goes to the market. So there's a lot of pieces that I brought home here to Lebanon County in like 50-some trips across, even one time across the Pacific. But today our relationships that we have throughout the world, we have two relationships with two big processors and slaughters and chicken growers in Saudi Arabia, one in Russia, two in Australia. Pretty much every Western European country, we have friends there that have plants like ours or similar. We're starting now in Eastern Europe. So around the globe, we have people that email us, talk to us, visit us, and we try to do the same. So as I'm getting older and thinking, wow, maybe the only thing I have left to do is I'll keep making trips across, keep bringing ideas home, and then the kids have to make it happen when I bring it home. And they do a pretty good job. Buddy travels with me where we can. We try to be a little careful about how many of us family members are in the same airplane. Today we employ, as Mike shared, we're close to 2,500 employees. We expect that to double over the next couple of years. And our numbers would be at least 1,000 more if it wasn't for innovation. So one of the things we learned along the way is we need to make people more valuable. So we can compete with anybody in Lebanon County on our wages in every category. So we have a doctor that formulates our feed that we brought in from Texas, from A&M. We have nurses, we have a lot of medical people, we have CPAs, we have engineers, we have all kinds of people in all kinds of categories. So anybody knows anybody wants a job at Bell & Evans, we pay really good, we feed you really well, you get a discount on new chicken. So we're looking for more employees at any time. We're looking for more growers. So we're signing up growers left and right, and we don't take new customers on anymore. All of our growth now is coming from existing retailers. Wegmans is opening a new store up tomorrow in Connecticut. So they add stores, so that adds to our volume. But most of all, our problem is now is that people eat too much Bell & Evans chicken. The average consumption per capita is about 99 pounds a person. I think the number is now. So I think we're ahead of beef. We're growing more so than any other protein. The problem we have is people that buy Bell & Evans chicken are eating 300 pounds a year. Eat chicken for breakfast, chicken for lunch, chicken for supper. I said to our guys, we soon have to put billboards up, eat more pork, eat more beef. You guys have us running the wheels off this place in Fredericksburg. So we are getting ready to build another slaughterhouse behind the one we just built 3 years ago. So at some point we expect to be doing 6 to 7 billion chickens a week on the hill there. Wow. where we are now. We are hatchery now. We just finished the expansion of last year, and now we're getting ready to build a new hatchery. It's a Dutch hatchery, and now we're going to change that too. Everything now, we work with a lot of good innovators. So our guy that's sold us a hatchery from Holland spent his life learning the hatchery business. He just got into the business actually selling hatcheries about 12 years ago. We are the largest one in the world of early feeding. But he spent a lot of money at the universities in Holland, and he's learned to emulate a hen with the right temperatures and the right time. So in the mass production, we were speeding that up too much. And so he's figured out now we need 24 days of incubation instead of 19. So we're looking to build a new hatchery for the same amount. It needs to be about 30 or 40% bigger now. But we're looking to go to a 24-day incubation, which what we've learned is we'll have more production from those eggs. So we'll have less bad eggs. And we will have a healthier chick to start. And that was part of our motivation for our stress management in the first place, is that they had feed and water as soon as they chirp out of their shell. Our competitors' chickens, they don't have feed and water until they get to the farm. They will advertise, yeah, but they get feed and water as soon as they get there, but they don't tell you the story that in that incubator, some will be hatched out 3 days before the last ones, and everybody knows when they open up the door, they're all hatched out. Except some of them are 3 days old in there already that didn't have feed and water. So I learned working with this Dutch guy that if they have feed and water waiting and they come out of the shell, it only takes a few minutes. They find their way to water and feed. Our chickens are 3 days ahead of our competition. We don't need it necessarily by growth, but by health. So people wonder how we have 98% livability with our organic chicken program, with no antibiotics and without cheating. And our total across the company now, I think we're at 96, 97% livability with no antibiotics and no cheating. And so we learned along the way to do a few things differently than the industry, and it's paying off for us. So back here in Fredericksburg, Lebanon County, we now become the leader of the world in many areas of our chicken business. And certainly in the U.S., I mean, while the big guys are all pissing and moaning about us, wasting their time, but they also, they're being dictated the price by the Walmarts and the big companies, and so that hurts too. So they're kind of stuck. They got really big. They have stockholders now looking over their shoulder, and so that's a problem. And then the big chains tell them what to do, and they tell them what price they want to pay for the chicken, and so that don't allow for new chicken plants. So my new plant's 3 years old, and the next new plant in America is likely to be ours. And the newest plant that the industry has in the Purdue world is about 28 years old now. No, it's 38 years old in Kentucky. Sanderson built a few new plants going back 6 or 8 or 10 years ago. But the big guys haven't been building new plants because they're all worried about making money. And some of them guys like Tyson now are in the pork business. So they're making money in bacon. So the stockholders say, forget the damn chickens, build bacon plants. And so that's how our food industry thinks, and what ends up in the stores and the markets is based on what the stockholders, maybe it's a group in New York, they got themselves on the board of these companies, and they tell them, you go where the money is. And so us eating food, going in a grocery store, we don't know all that stuff, but yet most of the industries are really run by stockholders that don't have a clue what's going on, but they know how to read a balance sheet. And when you spend money on equipment, you have depreciation, which gets expensed, and that's not good for a stockholder balance sheet. They want to have no depreciation, everything falls to the bottom, because that's what's going to drive their stock prices, and if they don't do a good job of that, they get fired and they put other stockholders in, or they put other guys in running the company. So, I don't know, I covered a lot of stuff here. Yeah, I went through the avian flu thing because everybody asked me about that. The one thing that we do a really good job with is organic grain. So I think we're the only company in America that buys strictly 100% organic grain from America. Because almost 100% of it coming in across the seas or coming across the Canadian border is fraud, in my opinion. So I won't touch it, never did, never will. So I have growers, I can't get enough growers on the East Coast here. Everybody's trying to still figure out if they really want to be in that or not. It's a lot of work. But we have a very religious group out in the West. So my grain between Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, Iowa, Illinois, I have over 100,000 acres of organic grain farms. And they take their organic grain really religiously. I was just out a few weeks ago walking the fields. Everybody was cultivating. So they were in cultivation season. And for them out there, it means cultivating every day. Every day. They had millions of dollars in cultivators, weed burners, weed zappers. And sometimes they even burn the corn off when it's 6 inches high and grows back out again. Most people don't realize that. So sometimes if the weeds get ahead of them. So we are now bringing 12, 14, 16 rail cars a weekend from the west of organic grain. I wish we could get here because we get probably $3 a bushel, sometimes $4 a bushel just as a freight cost to get it in here. But we use a lot of organic grain, so we need them badly. But I also like the honesty we have out there too. I'm about to take our Pennsylvania PCO certification. They've agreed now to certify all of our farms in the West. And we're also working on getting all to use organic seed. And those 3 seed suppliers are all certified organic, and we oversee them as well. So when I charge somebody $10 for a pound of organic chicken, it has to be worth $10. And if the customers think it's worth what we charge them, they keep coming back and buying more and more. So it's important to us to develop integrity in the organic business. And so we're growing at about 20%. So every night now I'm dressing about 200,000 birds organic every night. And it's growing for us. So if you do the right thing, the organic business grows. And with the fraud that's involved with organic, a lot of people are going sideways or negative. So not everybody talking so positive about organic like I am. So
last call for breakfast in the eatery.
Okay, so maybe that's a clue. Okay, how about some questions? I have a lot of customers here, so somebody ought to have some questions.
So, Scott, why don't you tell them the difference between your packaging and, as my wife and I call it, the wee-wee pad packaging?
Well, we are diaper free to start with. Because when you thaw it out, that last thing that's still stuck fast is that damn diaper. And if you don't air chill, you don't pick up water along the way, then you shouldn't, because not in our case, but in other cases, we chlorinated water. We don't let chlorination be a part of our program at all. Chlorination is against the law in Switzerland, a lot, but they don't even allow it in swimming pools. When I started out, you couldn't process chickens in the U.S. and send them to Canada, where they had a chlorinated rinse. Like they wouldn't even let you put the knife in chlorinated water. You had to put it in boiling water to ship to Canada when I started out. So over time, the lobbyists for the chemical industry won out pretty well, and so they do what they do. What was your question?
So your packaging, how's it different?
Packaging, yeah. So we bring from Greece every day our film that we package. It's the number one. It's we mold our own film, so we don't buy any styrofoam trays. So we mold all of our bottoms, and they're very special and very expensive machines to do it. We just got a machine delivered yesterday. It came over in the belly of an airplane from Kempton, Germany. $1,600,000 for one machine, and there's another one on the way for sometime in August that's coming over here. I have rows of them over there, so for the Germans have like a showroom for these machines now, because I'm one of the few in the United States that actually forms all their trays in-house, where other people buy the trays and then they put a film over top. But, and also, thanks to our help here from the Lebanon Valley group, we are now going to be, they're going to be building a plant in the park. They bought land, it's settled now, right? A lot of planning going on. But we're going to, the film that we have coming across the water, like several containers a week, is going to be made in the Lebanon Valley Park right here. Soon. I take a little credit for that, but most of the credit goes to you. Yeah. So we had a lot of help to make that happen here. So it won't be long. We'll be having stuff coming from the park to our place. It's a very high grade film. I think it's the best in the world. I've tried a lot around the world. And this family, with Dad and the boys, Brown University graduates, They're good in English, and they're very, very bright. They become like part of our family. And we spend, I don't know, tens of millions of dollars a year on these rolls of film. And our customers love it. So if you go to Wegmans or you go to any place and see our chicken in there. In fact, the Wegmans love it so much now. 2 weeks ago they started now, all the Wegman branded chicken that's in the stores now has our label on with it. If any Wegman said, this is too much of a secret here, and people keep asking all the time, whose good chicken is this? And so now, in fact, you may see trucks on the road have both our names on the side of the trailer truck. So, you know, we sell them, some nights we have 16 or 18 trailers in one night going to Wegmans. They're one of my problems. They're customers eat too much chicken. So it takes a lot to keep up. Did I get through your question now?
Yes.
Okay.
The other
Next
part
one.
of it is, so with their packaging, if you ever see the regular chicken packaging, it sits like this. With that packaging technique he uses, it's amazing because there's no pad, so oftentimes it's displayed, you know, face up.
Yeah.
So you're not getting, and it really is amazing. The other thing, could you touch on your wings compared to the competitors' wings? And how the reason why you don't have shards and chips and breaks and you have all that.
Well, we may have some of that too, but first of all, we grow our chickens to an average weight of 5.6 pounds when they're alive, which gives us from a 3.5 to 4 pounds breast weight average between the males and females. So our chicken wings are never as big as the wings that you find at cheaper restaurants. They want to grow big chickens, thinking they can make money that way, and so then that gives big wings. The problem is that by itself is stress. The chickens we have today, most of the breeders in the world went broke over the years, and the companies that bought them were usually investment banker type guys, and they didn't want to put money back into the business. So we have a family over outside of Hamburg, Germany that owns over 60% of breeding in the world now. In fact, their son was over and stayed with us at the house for a week, and we have a good relationship there. It's amazing that Tyson owns a breed called Cobb, and between the two of them, they got 90% of the world market in broiler breeding. And this family over there also has over half the market in layer breeds. So the Highline name that you guys see around here, that's owned by a German family. The Nicholas Turkeys, the German family. And they ended up with all these breeds because others didn't want to reinvest. As investment banker groups ended up buying these things, thinking that it was a monopoly and they could make fast money. But in the breeding business, it's not fast. You know, you have mistakes along the way and losses along the way, and if you're publicly traded, they don't like losses along the way. Stockholders, all they want to do is make money. And so this one family now controls the world in broiler breeders. So today's chicken yet is still the breed that was bred for KFC back in the 60s. There hasn't been a lot of change to that. This family in Germany now is doing a good job of making some changes. So the big chickens that everybody else sells today, if you go to Costco, you see the big wings, the big breasts in there, they almost look like turkey breasts. That chicken was so stressed out. Most of those chickens come to market, they're blind, and they can't walk when they go to market. That's what comes in. Now you wouldn't know that unless I told you, but that's the case today. So we have chickens that are being fed to higher weights than their bodies can carry the weight. And so that's a big problem. The public generally doesn't know that. The people that do figure it out are probably why we can't keep up with our L11 chickens. Because the chicken weight we have today is a little higher than the KFC weight, but not a lot more. Because when you take an animal like a person, you know, when you're twice as heavy as you should be, you know, you have a stress factor there. You know, and we all have a little bit of that. At least I have a little bit of that problem yet. You know, so you got to try to match up your weight with your structure. And so with chickens, people don't talk about these things like I'm talking about, but that's stress in itself. So the bird drops a little crap in the way, you drag it in the barn, you got the bird flu. Right? It's another point of stress when you're raising animals to be bigger than they should be. It's amazing, I'll get on this kick for a second, and then I'll shut up. So the egg industry, we paid 3 times as much for eggs as we should have. And the avian influenza made a lot of people rich. And a lot of people can't make a living unless somebody's failing in the supply and demand animal world. But you have 3 million chickens on a farm. You know, 80% of the rise of egg prices was 10 farms in America that went down with avian influenza. 10 farms in the whole country that had over 3 million birds on a farm. Those are the problems we have. And then they wonder why they get sick, they wonder why they get the flu. 3 million birds on a farm, and any farm has 3 million birds on, likely the owner doesn't walk the barns. And whoever walks through the barns, they don't sing to the chickens, talk to the chickens, they don't pray in the chicken house. I got off subject here. Next.
You're good. All right. Any questions from the audience?
Yeah, Scott, how do you chill your chicken compared to your competitors?
Well, we kind of pioneered that. In the U.S. is air chill. So now some others have it too. Most people don't like it because they can't pick up the water weight to sell. So if you go to Costco today, they got $1.99 breasts with about 35% picked up something they call it, chicken broth. That's not true. It's water. And but when you put it through the chiller, so you put a bird in that's almost 100 degrees, it sucks up water like a sponge. And then they do everything they can to lock it in. So part of averaging the cost down is how much water we sell. Well, we get a good price for our stuff. We don't have to sell water weight. And besides that, there's tenderization in the process. So we talk about air chilling beef, but yet we chill chickens in 55 minutes, putting them in cold, chlorinated water. And so for us, we have them on a line that's about almost 3 miles long. We have 2 of them. And so for 3 hours, they go through cold air with no water. And so we pick up tenderization right there. But when you buy Bell Evans chicken, we're not selling water. We're selling chicken. There's some moisture there, but we don't have to add to it. So people say, oh, you can make more money. Yeah, cool. But you don't get the price I get for your chicken as I get for mine. You're selling your chicken for half the price. Put all the water in you want.
All right. Yes.
My dad is a grower, and I was wondering how you decided to put the props in the barn so the chickens can have fun. Like we have half barrels that they can hide under and stands that they can stand on. Like, was that just something? Because you said happy chickens and happy animals, make a good product. Where did you come up with the idea that they need to have fun, in the barn, or
When I was a little boy and I had my 100 chickens in the barn. And back then, they used to give you 1 free one for 100 in a box. And the only one I could lose is the free one. The other 100 had to live. And so I spent a lot of time in the barn. And chickens are interesting, just spend time watching them. They jump up on things, they fly, they get excited with each other. And so today, we actually stimulate that with these, things that we put in barn. So in some cases, we put maybe like liter plastic bottles in there, throw a bunch of them in the barn, and they push them around and carry on in there. The tunnels work, the straw bales work. And our farmers, I think, have a variety of different approaches, whatever works best for them. But you need to stimulate some excitement there. And you want to keep the excitement in the barn. So I'm fighting with USDA now with this idea of free range and outside. Our chickens go to market at roughly 40 days old. They don't have very many minutes to be screwing around with either cold weather, rainy weather, or something. And the idea that we push them out, shut the door to take pictures to show everybody free-range chickens is baloney. So while I like to do a lot of great things for chickens, pushing them outside to take pictures isn't one of them. But to have a USDA organic label, we have to have doors on, to let them out. And the best thing that we did for our chickens, all of our chickens, is put windows in the houses. And when I was a kid, that was an issue. So layers, that was a problem. Then they got real flaky. Broilers, not so much. I remember we used to paint the windows black. Then we'd scrape the paint back off. We never could figure out exactly where we wanted to go. And for years in the 60s and 70s, the houses didn't have any windows in. Now we build them all with windows. And it's amazing how active the birds are with those windows. So the best time of day for the chickens is in the morning when the sun comes up, and that sunlight pokes through that window at an angle. The chickens get real giddy in there. And I think that's a great thing to watch happy chickens. And they get real giddy with that sunlight poking in the window at an angle. And so that's the reason we put that in there. So there's more excitement in the house with things that you can do that's controlled than pushing them outside to take pictures. So I have a big battle going with USDA over this, forcing us to have all this stuff, this nonsense outside. Then if we have a fence outside, which we never use anyway, but we also, if we force them out, while they're going out, we have mice or rats coming in. We have salmonella coming in that door. We have all kinds of issues coming in that door. Maybe a mink runs in with the chickens once in a while. You know, so we have a lot of craziness. And so we do a lot of things in the food and animal industry that sounds good to consumers, that probably don't really think about the details, and they buy into it. So my struggle is trying to convince USDA. I had Ms. Rollins out to our place on a tour. She wanted to come up and see me, and she found out soon as she got that job, she gets a lot of lobbyists in there telling her what to do. And somebody told her she ought to come and see me. So one morning at 6:30, I got a phone call from her, and she said she was on the phone with me half an hour. She said, "I want to come and see you. I want to talk to you." So, and I want to do it within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we got a call. She wanted to come and see us, and so we did a tour with her son and I. Got her to meet a whole bunch of people, and so I think I have her ear because she likes to hear stuff that she believes in. She has some foreign background, and she gets all the bullshit from people she can handle, and she wants to get some facts once in a while. And so I think Trump got behind all that as well. That you got to start to listen to people other than lobbyists, and maybe you'll get some real information.
Outstanding. Anyone else?
I have all morning. Let's keep going.
So, just go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned putting up for basic squares in Lebanon County. We talked a lot about the poultry process and how you care for the poultry. What about that people piece? You mentioned you're going to be doubling in size in the next few years. How are you going to, face these challenges that we're seeing with the workforce? What's that going to look like on the people side of things?
Well, one thing that helps is we pay enough, we feed them well, and lots of good stuff. So we're more attractive than a lot of employers. It's still going to be a challenge. But I think we will, when the Amazon warehouse can't take them away, or they leave and come back right away, or anybody else, we're in a pretty good spot. In Lebanon County, everybody's looking to steal Bell Evans employees from top to bottom. I mean, we are a target out there with the amount of people we have. But I think if we do all the right stuff, we'll get the people. We have people moving into the area. I mean, the issue we have in Lebanon County now is going to be housing. I mean, we're at a point now, we have a whole generation of people that can afford the $300,000 house at the bottom level. And we have, 400 to 800 in another level. But there's still not so many of those out there. And many of those that are out there are kind of, they're built in the 60s and 70s, and you buy it for $300,000 or $400,000, then you got to spend $100,000 to fix it up yet. And so that's a challenge. So I'd say our number one issue is housing. In Fredericksburg there, I'm hoping that someday I can buy the facilities there that were part of the Grimes family. I was talking about that a while ago. I'd like to knock all those buildings down. I bought a big excavator to do it myself. And I want to build an urgent care hospital there. And talking to Mike and his gang over here at the hospital. And so I want to build a firehouse there. And so that whole property I want to buy that used to be the Grimes family chicken business there. Knock all the buildings down and donate it all back to the community in different ways. So if we do the right stuff, people will come. And so I sweat it a little bit, but we'll make it happen. If anybody can do it, we can do it.
Scott.
Yes.
Tell a little about your health plan for employees. Your benefits, your health plan.
Yeah, what about it? That's good.
Unique in the market.
Well, yeah, years ago we went to zero copays. So I don't think anybody has better health care than what we have up there. And I tried a few things. Actually, I just officially switched back to capital. like 2 weeks ago. We got cards now with the Bell Evans logo on the side of the Capitol. And the president of the Capitol has become a friend of ours. He likes to go 78 when he goes to visit his Allentown location. He drives by the Bell Evans Organic Water Tower that's sitting there. He's always reminded who we are. So I thought it's better than having insurance company or Texas or someplace else. They're headquartered in Harrisburg and they drive by us a lot. And so they won't forget us. So when we yell, they'll pay attention to us. Yeah, so the labor's gonna be a challenge, but I don't think other people can do a better job than what we are doing today. So, we have a lot of Del Valle, Penn State grads at our place. We keep out of that list, and so we have a pile of people there just in the grow out that are all college educated, and we're in a pretty good spot. We put 2 new feed tankers on the road recently. I don't know if you've seen any of our Bell Evans feed trucks. There's two more here getting decal now, and 4 more on the way from Canada. And feed truck drivers are lining up from other feed companies in the state. They want to drive our fancy new trucks and be employed at our place. So, I said if you want to hire good people, you got to look like you're with it, like there's a future here, and you're not for sale. So. Yeah, we're not for sale. They can see the kids there, and we have grandkids' desks at our place now. So my granddaughter Magnolia she was selling the ice cream yesterday. It's fake ice cream. So the grandkids are going to be a part of it. I did that when my kids were little too. I brought them along to work, and some used to complain. They said this is like a daycare center here. I said, so what? I own the place, and that's the way it's going to be here. Our buddy's the president. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have 5 of them now. One was just born 2 days ago, and so hopefully we get about 8. So I ordered 4 from each, and we're fine. That's 4 girls so far and 1 boy. So and there still isn't a second boy. So that's on that one. So this week, if you see Margot at the fair buying animals, continue to encourage her, and Buddy will be probably here too sometime this week. So, yeah. So I'm not going to sweat that problem yet, but it's on my mind. We always need people. Yeah. Yes.
I applaud you for your efforts at Farron Park, and I'm guessing that's going to be raised to me.
Yes. I'm using the Hinkle Fest to get everybody to keep moving. That date is there. And you got the farmer boy guy in front of you who's responsible for getting that done on time. and the guy sitting next to you too. Yeah, so we use mostly contractors that have experience because they're all getting busy and they're all short of help yet. And everybody wants to push us back. We had all the rains, that was that issue. But my top guys tells everybody, if you want to be second on the list going forward, when we pick the disciplines, why just screw around, right? So if you want to be number 1 on the list, you better get that Fireman's Park thing finished because Hinklefest is coming. we redid the menu, and everybody met at me home. I was so fussy with how the chicken steaks are going to be, how the sausage is going to be. I made him change the roll. That was the right length of roll, so a little bit of sausage sticks out of each end of the roll. I got somebody in Lancaster County making the pot pie dough, so we go back to the original chicken pot pie like we all do as kids. They buy this cheap stuff now from these vendors, and no, we're not doing that. I said, I'll go get the dough. I'll have somebody over in Lancaster cut the dough. So they gave me an order of 575 pounds of dough I need. I said, you better get some of that other cheap stuff for a backup in case I have a problem with it. So if you get a chance to come over to Hinklefest, it's ought to be pretty special this year. I have brand new bathrooms there. I put a $400,000 kitchen in. Has anybody seen? Well, some of you guys have seen the place already. I mean, I spend months over there between the rains. They're tearing trees out myself, tearing the buildings down, tearing the concrete footers out there. Lots of stuff. And so my little part is done. My big machinery has moved on. I'm ready to go knock the chicken plant down and try to. I can't wait for that. That's why I bought that big machine. I was hoping to intimidate him enough that I was coming. Big machine, I can, I have to hire the guys, east of you guys there, to haul it. It's got a 4-axle trailer for me, a 3-axle tractor. I guess it's the Weavers, right? Weaver, yeah. So he hauls it for me, so I can't even move it any from side to side. Then they have to get a permit to haul it yet. But I can't wait to get the permit to haul it to your old place. When you come out of the camera, start watching me knock that chicken plant down. That should have been knocked down 20 years ago already when you retired.
All right, we're wrapping up.
Okay. We're having fun.
I know we are, but we got.
We have excellent. All right, thank you so much, Scott. Really appreciate it.